Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. I hope you had a really good weekend. I'm about to tell you about mine. I'm not exactly sure I'd classify it as a really good weekend. It wasn't horrible. It just wasn't really, really good. And is anybody else bothered by those crickets that I'm hearing right now? I mean, the crickets are so loud in my ears right now. The tinnitus, or tinnitus if you prefer, it's so loud that it's almost hard to hear anything else. It's just really gotten worse over the last week or so. I'm not kidding you, it's crazy loud. Just part of it. Part of getting old, I guess. Did you see that Itchy Boots had some fun crossing the borders and she had to go back across or something? It was just a big hassle. Stuff like that. I have patience for a lot of things. But that kind of red tape stuff and where nobody seems to know what's going on top of it, that would drive me through the wall. Just that much right there is enough to keep me from ever traveling in a place like that. It would drive me insane. So I don't know. She seems to put up with it just fine and deal with it. But boy, I'd have trouble dealing with that. That would drive me crazy. Well, let's see what all we can talk about here. Friday, if you remember, Friday morning, I went out and cut up a couple of trees. They were already down on the ground, storm damage and vice versa things, just anything. Anyway, I cut them up, and so I had quite a bit of wood that I cut up on Friday morning. Well, Friday afternoon, I was planning to just run out there and take the dump truck and the bobcat with my splitter and grab those logs and split them right over the top of the dump truck. And some of that worked. Here you go. I got what I deserved. I bragged on the old truck, said it was running great. Somebody asked on the vlog on Friday, and I said, it's running great. Yeah, it really is doing really good. Literally right after the vlog, I went out and started up the dump truck and pulled it out, and it wouldn't idle. It just kept dying and dying. It wouldn't run right. So frustrating. And this carburetor was leaking. I took this off and put gasket sealer around the gasket. The gasket looked like it was okay, but I put sealer around it. It does not seem to be dripping anymore. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out how this thing filled back up with gas, because the whole time I took it off of here, there was no gas in there. There was no gas dripping out anywhere. After I put this back on, the gas filled back up. And we didn't run the truck or start it or anything. You know why? Because the starter decided to go out. Actually, the starter's fine. It's the Bendix on the end of the starter that doesn't engage anymore. So I have a new Bendix on order. It just doesn't quit. So I couldn't start the truck back up in order to, work on the idle and figure out what's wrong with the fuel mixture. Whatever's wrong, I don't know. Yeah, it just is what it is. I can't start the truck now unless I push it or something and pop start it, of course. But that's too much hassle, so I'm waiting for the Bendix to get here. Fortunately, they seem to be still available, although they are aftermarket Chinese stuff. But it looks like it'll do the job, I hope. That is just part of the problems that I had. I was going to use this to go get firewood. Let me show you the other problem that I had trying to get the firewood. So the other problem I had was the tracks kept coming off the Bobcat. I thought they were loose, but they're not loose. See the cracks in the tracks here and here, there's cracks. But look up here, this has already come out of the track. This piece of steel right here. Can you even see it in the dark here? So new tracks are on the way. That's only $3,000, that ain't no big deal. I just can't catch a break sometimes, but you're gonna wear them out. They're gonna need to be replaced eventually. They just have a lot of tread left on them, unfortunately. And these were aftermarket tracks. And of course, I'm buying more aftermarket tracks because the regular tracks are at least twice that much money, and they don't last that much longer. So there you go. But the big mystery for me on all of that was how that carburetor filled back up with gas. So what happened was, on, I guess it was Friday evening, I took that off there, that glass thing off, and cleaned it really, really good. And, it wasn't, while I was cleaning it, I looked at it, and there was no gas dripping out. It's completely dry, 100% dry. And so I cleaned all that up real good, put some gasket sealer on there, put it back on there. It was fine. It was completely dry, completely empty. Well, the next morning when I go out there to look at it, that thing's completely full of gas. And I'm going like, how did it do that? Like there's nothing, it's a mechanical pump. Unless the engine's turning over, it's not going to pump any fuel. And it's not gravity fed because it's the tank's behind the seat, and it goes down under the truck and then has to come up and then go into the carburetor. I have no words for that. It just really freaked me out. It was like, how the heck did that do that? I don't know. Just stuff happens. If you follow around behind me very long, you'll see all kinds of weird stuff like that. So anyway, that's the dump truck and Bobcat saga. You might want to start making a stick tally. Now would be a good time. There, you can put down 2, and if you want to count the tinnitus, you can put down 3 if you want to. Oh, the next thing that happened on Friday, I think it was Sue notified me that somehow or another the glass door on the well house got broken. Now, keep in mind, this is a full pane glass door. Now, it was a used door that I put on the well house because, it was good insulated glass door. And plus that sun shining through the glass even keeps the well house a little warmer, so during the daytimes and stuff. So anyway, I guess she was mulching leaves or something, and a rock hit that. Okay, and then, just if you're keeping score, I'm just, in terms of breaking glass like that, now this didn't happen all in one day or even 1 year, but so far, I remember that one got broke, of course, on Friday. Then another time, the library picture window got a big ding in it, and you'll see that in a later video today here. You'll see that actually. And then there's a full-length door on the back of the house that got hit with either the weed eater or the lawnmower. And then there's a back door on the back of the Airbnb that has the upper half window, and that got broken with a weed eater or a lawnmower, I don't know which. And then the front door on my metal shop got broken with either a weed eater or a lawnmower, I don't know which. She says, I don't do it on purpose. And I'm going, well, by the fact that you're not really aiming where the discharge is coming out, you're basically doing it on purpose. I don't know. It just, stuff happens, Just, at least I don't have to cut the grass. That's all I can say. So then on Friday, still, we haven't even got to Saturday and Sunday yet. But then on Friday, well, actually it was on Thursday, if you want to back up a day, when Cash was here, playing that night. His grandmother says, well, I'll see you on Friday night, tomorrow night at the church jam, right? So I said, oh yeah. Well, thanks for reminding me. So I showed up at the church jam Friday night. It wasn't Friday night. It's this coming Friday night. So I was there by myself, sitting in the parking lot going, how come there's nobody here? So it's this coming Friday night. Well, anyway, so I thought, well, that's a long trip into town, just wasted, 20 miles each way, round trip, so 40-mile round trip. And I thought, I might as well just go to Horrible Fright and see what they've got going on down there at Horrible Fright. So I went in there. They love me there. They really do. The last time I was there, not
this past Friday, but the time before that, when I was in there, they loved me. They gave me a free bucket. So this time when I'm in there, I bought a few little things, and I came up to the checkout. They gave me a free wrench set. They loved me. So look at that. I mean, they just love me. I think I'm gonna just stay there. So anyway, I got my free wrench set, came back to the farm. Let's see, I think on Saturday, I think it was Friday afternoon or evening, the petcock came, or maybe it was Saturday, I don't remember now. But anyway, the petcock came for the four-wheeler. And here's a little short video on that.
Kind of dark in here, but one more bit of fun I had over the weekend was the new petcock came in for this four-wheeler to 2001. So I, put that on, and it didn't come with proper sealing O-rings. It had an O-ring on it, and I thought, well, that should be all it needs, I guess. So I put it on there. Sure enough, gas just poured out of that petcock because it wasn't sealed right. So I had to take it all back apart, back off, and put on 2 or 3 more O-rings just to make it a big enough surface to seal it. Seems to be working. That part works great. So that's the good news. I got the petcock working, and it does open and shut off. The bad news is the carburetor is still leaking fuel, but I kind of expected that because I think there's debris in the carburetor. I just haven't had time to take the carburetor off yet and re-clean the carburetor and put it back on. I kind of think that'll fix the problem. I think the debris came from the petcock. The petcock itself had disintegrated. So it just another one of those fun things I did over the weekend that just was exceptionally disappointing. Oh, but my friends, it just isn't all doom and gloom because fortunately the temperature dropped to just 24 degrees last night, and therefore I'm burning the wood that I couldn't haul because of all the problems. I'm burning it really fast. I got 1 dump truck load of wood hauled, and I have 2 or 3 more back, probably 2 more dump truck loads back there. And we've got this, so it's fine. It's supposed to warm up in a few days. This is enough to get us through till it warms up. But like I said, I've got more cut back there. If I really need it, I can always take the Ranger back there and get it, or I can take the tractor with the dump trailer and get it. I don't have to use the dump truck. But I just, you just get overwhelmed with all of the stuff and all the problems. But let's see here how the fire is doing. You can see it's filled up to the brim, and it's very hot. You can see it steamed up the camera just as soon as I put it up close. And the present water temperature is 173, and it's flashing on the screen here, but in real life that's not flashing.
Yeah, so the four-wheeler still needs more work or more attention, but at least you can shut the gas off now because the petcock actually works now. So at least, but when that petcock came, I looked at it and I thought, well, that doesn't quite match exactly. I mean, it had an O-ring on it, so I figured, I guess they know what they're doing, and they claim it fits this machine. So I put it on there, and sure enough, it wasn't good enough to seal it. So I had to just devise a method to make it seal, but it seems to be working. I hope it holds. Yeah. Well, then on Saturday, now some of you already know that we've had ongoing issues with our new air conditioner that was put on this end of the house. Now, there's one on this end of the house, which is directly behind the camera here, or the TV screen, or whatever you want to call it. It's on the other side over there by the by the rental apartment. Anyway, that one was put in after the one on the far end of the house, and the far end of the house, we've never had them come back on it. It's been working perfect ever since. But this one, they've come out, I couldn't tell you how many times. And so they told me they had it fixed under warranty, you know, that they were here. But on Saturday, I got this bill, and the bill says, replace the, coil under warranty, no charge, it says. But then all the other charges that add up, it came out to $1,193 to fix the rest of it. And the way I look at it, I mean, I wouldn't be paying this $1,193, $1,200, might as well just say. I wouldn't be paying this $1,200 had it worked from day one. I didn't have to pay $1,200 on the other one. Not to mention, I've paid several other times that they've been out here working on it. So I'm going to write them a letter. Nice letter. I'm not going to get mean or nothing. Just going to say, real nice letter. Thank you for all your past service. I appreciate it very much. We will no longer need any of your future service. And I'll pay the bill. Aggravating, really, is what it is. Let's see. Take a look at this little piece of video.
Well, my friends, it's Monday morning, and some of you may remember that a few years back I made this axe handle for this double-bladed axe, and I cut down a Christmas tree that year, and we had that Christmas tree as the backdrop of our Christmas show. Well, anyway, Sue is wanting to make a display of different axes found here on the farm. And yes, I did find this double blade axe here on the farm. You can see it's all pitted from being in the ground for over 100 years. And that axe handle's made out of hickory. So that's going to be part of the display. I'll show you that display once we get her put together. Well, my friends, here's what it looks like looking out our picture window. We were thinking about getting this window replaced because it's got a chip out of it here and it can fog up a little bit over time. Something like $7,000. I decided maybe we could live with it, at least for now. Here's the rest of this room. I thought I'd show it to you. This is what we call the library. And maybe for obvious reasons, it's got bookshelves built in and stuff. Those were here when we moved here. Thought I'd show you a few other things. This is a table that I made out of a cherry tree that I cut down where I built my first workshop. It's a drop leaf table, and you can flip the leaf around like that. And anyway, that table, it basically took all the wood that I got out of that tree to make that. It was a very small cherry tree, and it was crooked, and it wasn't a real nice tree. So I took it down, made my first workshop. The rest is history, you might say, because that's where I started. Rosa String Works was in that workshop. You can see I have turned legs on there and everything. That's about the only piece of furniture I guess I've ever made. I've made a couple of cabinets and things. Let's see. What I really wanted to show you today was our display cases here. Sue made this one and put it all together. The lights are reflecting and not doing so well here. Maybe I should turn the light off. Maybe it would look better. I don't know. You can see the instruments and things. That was the first Sycamore instrument I built. This is the first guitar that I ever bought with my own money. It's you can't see it because of the glare. Gibson Jubilee. I think I bought it in 68 or 69. This is my grandpa's old fiddle. There's the song, Grandpa's Old Fiddle, over there. This is the 12-string I built for that fellow in Scotland that ended up in jail. So that didn't work out to his favor. And then you can see here's the big fireplace in here. And Sue's artwork that she made up there. And then here's the newest display. And again, the window glare and everything, it's really going to be hard to show it to you. I don't know if it's better with the lights on or not. It's just bad. Either way, it's bad. But this great big broad axe, it's a hewing axe. It belonged to I believe it was my great-grandfather, Clyde Sconce, and passed down to his son, Arnold Sconce, my grandfather. And then these other axes and hammers are all things that I found here on the farm. There's a heavy spike that was used for chiseling something. It's got a point on the end of it. This is a different kind of a chisel, you can see. And then you've seen me restore the handles on some of these. This is just a little tiny tack hammer. And then there's the hammer that has the H and the S on it. That's a double-bladed axe that I restored quite a few years ago. Well, I say quite a few, about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago. And if you remember, we cut down a cedar tree for a Christmas tree, and it was the Christmas tree was in the backdrop of our Christmas program. And that's the axe that I cut that tree down with. And this axe head, along with all the rest of these heads except for the middle one here, except for the big one, all those are found on the farm. I think I found about a dozen axe heads and hammer heads and things, maybe a little more than that even. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you there. That's the newest display. Again, it would be a real nice display if you could see it. Unfortunately, with the glares and everything, it's really hard to see.
So anyway, we finally got that done. And I guess that completes the library remodel in there. But I just have one more fun little thing that happened over the weekend. Again, this one wasn't exactly, it's not horrible, just wasn't real good. Here you go.
Well, my friends, I've had kind of a run of unfortunate luck, let's just say it that way. I wouldn't say it was horrible luck, just not good stuff. And it just kind of continued with this guitar. We've got the guitar sold, and it's up in good shape. Don't get me wrong. There's really nothing very bad wrong. It's just that the binding, I noticed, had come loose. I just done the fret job, got the frets all recrowned and polished. They look like mirrors. You might be able to see how shiny they are in the light there. They look just like a mirror. The fretboard looks like it's brand new. Well, I was just getting ready to polish the top, and then I noticed the binding had come loose over here, and I think it's loose on the back too. I've only glued the top. I let it set overnight because I like to give it 24 hours. So it is what it is. I was planning to ship it out Monday or Tuesday, today or tomorrow, but it looks like it might be Wednesday now because I'm going to glue the other side, give it another night to dry, and then go ahead and get this thing set up. Well, here's a look at the back after it's been glued up, and you can see a little glue squeeze out in here. This glue is water soluble. You can wash it off even after it's dry. A little harder to do after it's dry, but I got most of it off. There'll always be some squeeze out though, so that's why this glue is so nice. It doesn't hurt your finish. Wash it off and it's good to go. So anyway, I think it's going to be just perfect once it's finished, but I'm going to give it another 24 hours.
Nothing to it except to do it. Well, that pretty much shows everything I was going to show today. Let's go to the comments and see what's going on. Brian Byler was the first one in from the snowy Northeast Ohio. Yeah, my daughter says that they got a couple inches there at Dayton, and she's got a new dog, a new pup. I don't even think he's a year old yet, but he's an Akita. He's one of those giant dogs. He's gotten really big. He's got that super thick fur on him. And she said he wouldn't come in. He went out in that snow and just had a ball, and he would not come in the house. She kept calling him. He wouldn't come back. He was just out there playing, jumping up and down and rolling in the snow and everything. So Anyway, let's see. David Tharp says, howdy, everybody. I once knew a girl who had just one leg. I already know where this is going. The only place she could find a job was at IHOP. Her name was Peg. I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. David Tharp. Peg had a sister. I didn't know this was coming. Peg had a sister in the same condition. Her name was Eileen. Yeah. I thought it was that she had a sister with one leg shorter than the other. Eileen. I think that's the way I heard that one. Wayne Blitz. Good afternoon, Jerry. Hope having a wonderful day. Well, I guess today's pretty good, although I think the luck is still continuing. Did you see the Band-Aid on the thumb there? You know, when I was putting those axes and hammers into the display case this morning, a nail fell down on the carpet, so I reached down quickly to pick the nail up, and one of those axe blades was there right next to the nail, and it sliced that open pretty good. So they're pretty sharp. In fact, it bled pretty good. Let's see. Bill Webb says, good afternoon, Jerry and friends. There's Dottie says afternoon, and she said, won't be on the vlog today. Physical therapy. Please say a prayer for me. Yep. Well, I hope everything goes really, really well for you there. I hope your physical therapy is going well. I hope you get through all of that. All the pain goes away. Gino Hitch says, hi, Jerry and friends from snowy day in Monroe, Ohio. I'm ready for spring already. So what's new? Joe Cool USA says hello. David Tharp says, I can honestly say that I am in shape. Well, after all, round is a shape. Let's see. Dottie says, hit the like button. It helps the channel. It sure does. If you would do that, that would be very helpful. Ronald Todd says, good afternoon, Jerry and everyone from the West Bank of New Jersey. I hope everyone's doing great today. Fuzzy Russ says, David, the condition of those girls with only one leg must run in the family. Let's see. Looking for mainly the question marks. David says the squirrels are gathering nuts for... I can't tell anything about squirrels right now because I can't hear anything but crickets. It's really bad. I'm not kidding you. The squirrels are gathering nuts for winter. A couple of my friends are missing. Are you in a safe place? I'm barely in a safe place. Then let's see. Paul Lanier says 2014 Ford F-150 starter is almost impossible to replace. My hands and arms look like I reached in a briar patch and tied a lynx in a knot. Yeah, I kind of understand what you're talking about. Like I also got the new starter in for Sue's 2022 Kawasaki Mule. So I took her starter out. Her starter had froze up. It wouldn't work on the Kawasaki Mule. So I took that starter out the other day and cleaned it thoroughly, took it all apart and cleaned it up, put it all back together, got all the stuck parts working again, like the brushes were stuck and everything. I mean, like they were froze solid. So I got that starter working. So she's been using it ever since then, and it's still working. But I got the new starter in. And I'm going to wait until the old one completely, shoots craps because, it's not easy to get to that one either. You can't even see it, let alone get to it. But I have a new one if I have to put it in there. Let's see. Paul Lanier says, that's talking to Dottie there. Let's see. Here's question marks. Bill Rhodes says, good afternoon, and back to you. Dottie's talking to Paul there. See, okay, All right, after we go live, then it looks like the first question marks I see is David Tharp says, disappointed with Home Depot. I bought a telescopic ladder, but I can't see a thing through it. Save your money. Do not buy. Yeah, it's. I hate false advertising. I just hate that. Let's see. Michael 2X says, hey, Rosenmeister. Bill Mumbo, hi you folks. And then Hugh O'Connor says, I wonder what problems, issues Itchy Boots would have if she was an American. Yeah, I wonder that same thing. Because there has been a few times where I've seen it in her vlog where they say something like, are you American? She goes, no, she's very quick to say, no, I'm Netherlands, or Holland, Hollanda, Hollanda, I think she says. Anyway, Paul Lanier's talking about David's telescoping ladder there. Must have a dirty lens. Mine works, but the air purifier auxiliary kit was a suggested purchase option for better visual clarity. Give it time. Let's see. Moving on down. I see a bunch of folks there. Looking for the question marks. Bad Ned says, Jerry, can I bring my four-wheeler down and drop off? Yeah, I guess that's Mark. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. And if that's not Mark, if it's somebody else want me to work on their four-wheeler, no, you cannot do that. Or if Mark wants me to work on his four-wheeler, no, you cannot do that. I got enough things to work on here. And then Sue Rosa, who is that, I wonder? She says, you would think someone would put something on the lawnmower so that stuff doesn't fly out there so much. Could somebody do that for me? Yeah, right. I could put something on there, but how long would it stay on there? That's the other question, because you'd be hitting a tree with it or something. So, anyway. Then let's see. Paul Lanier made a suggestion. Cut during the rain. It sticks to the mower pins, and there's no dust. Yeah, except I don't think the rocks are going to stick too much. And the fact that you're doing that in the rain and it sticks there, then it's going to rust the deck out, and then I got to build a new deck for it. And that would not be fun. Will's Check says, hello, Jerry. For a 12-string acoustic, what should the action measure at the 12th fret? Well, I would say it should be about the same as a 6-string, really. I don't see why it would be any different. That's kind of the way I've always gone with it. Of course, you want to use much lighter strings on a 12-string. You don't want to use mediums on a 12-string. I would say extra light on a 12-string would be par. But I would say you should get them, you should be shooting for around 90 thousandths on your bass strings and then around 80 thousandths on your treble strings. If you're a little higher than that, 5 to 10 thousandths higher would probably be fine. A little lower, you probably could get away with a little lower. I wouldn't want it much lower. A lot of people think when they hear those numbers like 90 thousandths what I'm shooting for and 10 thousandths maybe it's 100 thousandths. Well, they think that's just crazy high. Well, it's high, but it's not crazy high. 10 thousandths of an inch is pretty tiny when you look at it. It's pretty darn tiny. 10 thousandths of an inch is about the thickness of 3 sheets of paper, and I'm talking, smashed tightly together, so it's not very thick. Just to give you some idea. Then let's see. Paul Lanier's apparently talking to Sue again. I cut a truck mud flap and add 8 inches of length. That makes it sag lower to the ground. Works fine. That might not be a bad idea. In fact, I want to take the dang mud flaps off. I've decided I want them off of the dump truck. They don't work with a darn on that dump truck anyway, and I'm not driving it out on the highway or nothing anyway, so they're just there to collect dirt and mud they don't do a bit of good. And maybe I could take one of those mud flaps and stick it on your mower. Let's see. Eric GU9MZ says, crickets, you bet. I'll bet I have the world's supply of crickets in my head. Hearing aids kind of help, but they are still there. Yeah, what's weird, if somebody said if you put your fingers in your ear, it helps. On mine, it makes it worse. Oh, it's just extra loud when I put my fingers in there. It's just loud. It's real loud right now. I'm not kidding you. It's pretty annoying. I try not to think about it, and if you can just get busy and not think about it, it's not so bad. But when you do finally give into it, it's even hard to listen to the television. They're so loud, you know. Zappa says, Jerry, does the four-wheeler have a fuel filter? I did not previously notice one. If not, put an inline filter. Well, we've talked about that the other day. We were talking about putting one in there. When I take the carburetor off to clean it, I will see if I can get one to fit in there. This is really tightly packed. I mean, like, just seems to me like there's barely enough room for the fuel line, let alone a filter. So I don't know if I can get one in there or not, but I might be able to. Once I clean it out, I don't expect I'll have any further problem. I know the tank is clean. It's a plastic tank, and I blew it out real good. Really, the only reason it had anything in there was the fact that the old petcock disintegrated. It just fell into pieces. Chunks of it went down in, I'm sure went down the gas line and went into the carburetor. Hugh O'Connor says, why not use the small car windscreen chip repair stuff on the one in the window? Well, that might be a good idea. We might try something like that. There's no chip on the outside. It's the chip went on the inside between the panes, you know, and sometimes it draws moisture in there and gets, fogged up or whatever. And it's such a tiny, I mean, like the hole's so tiny, I guess you could repair that. I don't know if you can or not. It's perfectly smooth on the outside. The chip is on the inside. It's a pretty good chunk. It's a chip, it's a little smaller than a quarter, I would say, but it's a pretty good sized chip. But that's a good idea. I never thought about trying that, so maybe we'll try that. Ronald Todd, instead of paying the air conditioner bill, maybe appearance at the small claims court. Yeah, well, I hear where you're coming from, and I agree with you. I probably could win it. I don't know. I'm going to say maybe it's 3 years old now, and the reason but it's never worked since they put it in. I mean, like they've come out every year and 2 or 3 times in a year, and to fix it's just not worked since it was put in new. I don't even know for sure it's fixed now, because they got it fixed right at the turn of the season here. We're not even hardly using the air conditioner. I mean, we used it a little bit after they fixed it. And of course, you would expect it to work for a little while, So who knows? I guess won't even know if it's really fixed till next year, But I'm just not a courts person. I'm not a person that's going to go sue anybody or anything like that. That's just not me. I'll just send them their money and say, thank you for your service. Your services will not be needed in the future. Let's see. Lady Cajun says, open the door on the cabinet door and the glare goes away. Yeah, well, that would be simple, wouldn't it? I was trying to show it what it looks like, but, I guess I could open the door. David Tharp, yes, it was a calculated risk, but unfortunately, I'm not very good at math. Let's see. Joe 1BL says, I had vehicle tire replaced. Next day, mechanic came with empty air bottle fixed eventually with more charges. No way. Okay, I'm not sure what that means there. Had vehicle tire replaced. Next day, mechanic came with empty air bottle. Fixed eventually with more charges. No way. Okay. Let's see. Moving on down. Joe, again, here he says, tinnitus is in my left ear with after bomb blast. Sucks, just have to live with it. Wow. I didn't have a bomb blast. I assume that was in the service or something. Well, thank you for your service and sorry about your ear. That's terrible. Yeah, mine, I don't know. Mine's probably just old age and probably from never wearing any hearing protection and driving tractors and all kinds of equipment. I always wear hearing protection now when I'm driving the Bobcat, but I don't often wear hearing protection on anything else unless I'm doing something that's exceptionally loud, like if I'm grinding something or something in the shop where I know it's going to be real loud, or hitting something with a hammer that's I know is going to be really loud. I wear hearing protection, but probably should have wore it when I was a kid behind all those lawn tractors, that used to have that big Wisconsin engine sitting right in front of you on that those three-wheeled Yazoo tractors, and they were, I forget the other name, they were the real wide cutting tractors that we used to have. They would cut like 6 feet wide and with a great big motor in the front, and that motor's right in front of you. Never wore any hearing protection on that. Let's see. Bruce Call says, I sure miss guitar content, Jerry. Well, so do I, but these things here say it's over, and it's over, trust me. They're hurting so bad now that, I'm not kidding you. I hate to even bring it up, but just even driving those nails, just holding the dang nail, it's the shape that you get your hand in. Like, cutting firewood with holding the chainsaw, that's not too bad, but you get certain shapes that you make with your fingers and hands, it just is like sticking a knife through your hand, So it just is what it is. Yeah, Joe says, Itchy Boots is very brave. Boy, isn't that the truth? That girl, she's amazing to me, the stuff she does, and it seems like it's going to catch up with her. I hate to say it like that to sound, like it's got to happen, but I look at it kind of like those guys that base jump off of stuff, and especially with the wingsuits, and they go flying, and they've done it hundreds of times. It works every time until it doesn't. It's just eventually it's going to catch up with you, it's that kind of thing. And like I watched Tucker Gott. I don't know if anybody watches Tucker Gott. He's really good at what he does. And he's good at explaining it, and he's good at understanding why certain people crash and certain things. I think he understands it 100%. But he also takes risks that he doesn't need to take. And sometime or another, that's going to catch up with you. It's kind of one of them deals. Let's see. Bad Naz there, that is Mark, and he says, yeah, it is me, and I don't need any work. Well, that's a good thing. You can drop it off then if you want to. Let's see. And by the way, Mark, tell Yolanda to come here Thursday evening and be part of my play along Thursday evening. That would be good. 49er 616 Jerry tells Sue she did a great job on the room. It's really nice. Good job, young lady. Yeah, I think she did a real nice job decorating it. The library looks real good. And let's see. Zappa says, Jerry put the fuel filter right after the petcock. there's no room. I mean, like there is zero room. In fact, there's less room there than anywhere else. There's a metal plate. They've got a little cutout in this metal plate where the petcock, and I say cutout, it's just an indention where the petcock sits. And then there's a little thin channel where the line just barely fits in there. So the only place to put one would be somewhere between the carburetor. I mean, I'm no dummy. If I can fit one in there, I'll fit it in there. But the odds are I can't fit one in there. And he says it doesn't need to be hidden. I don't plan on trying to hide it. It's got nothing to do with any of that. It's just got to do with space. There ain't much space in there. It is very little space. And David Thorpe says, thumbs up, y'all. Yeah, if you would do that, that helps. Joe says, yes, I think base jumpers are a bit crazy. Yeah, I think it's cool. I like to watch them. I think it's really cool. And if I had the guts and experience and all that, I'd probably do that. But I don't, and I won't. You know what I think about those base jumpers? I'm talking about the wingsuiters, not the ones that are jumping off a tower or a bridge. You kind of know what you're doing when you jump off a tower or a bridge. I mean, it's pretty much just straight down, you know. But those wingsuit guys that are flying out through, just with their wingsuits, you know, the first guy to jump off that cliff, you know, because you're going down through canyons and there's rock formations everywhere and trees and houses and, you know, just everything. And they're flying through there. That first guy doesn't know for sure that it's going to work, you know. And even the second guy, you know, I mean, like maybe the first guy just got lucky. You know what I'm saying? After they've done it a bunch of times, well, then they kind of got some experience. But that first time you jump off that mountain, off that cliff, if you've ever watched any of them, you'll understand what I'm talking about. You don't really know for sure that very first time that you got clearance and that you're going to be able to clear everything that you're coming through on. I don't see how they figure it out. I really don't. It's because, and it's not like they're creeping along. They're moving pretty darn fast. You know, they're going about 120 miles an hour, I think, or probably in that neighborhood anyway. They're moving now. They're just a big greasy spot if it don't work. Let's see. Cup of Cool. I was an engineer for Norfolk Southern for almost 30 years, but the first 20 of those, ear protection wasn't really a thing. That last year it was. Those old engines make some noise. Yeah, I can certainly understand it. Yeah, you know, back in the 60s and 70s when I was, you know, young like that, nobody thought about that kind of stuff. I mean, like I told you, too. I mean, we did this all the time. I'm not making this up about what I'm about to tell you here. We would stand up in the back of a pickup truck going down the highway. I mean, you got to remember, we were hauling hay on the hottest day of the year. You know, it'd be sometime in July, just completely crazy hot. And you're hauling hay, and you're just covered in hay, and you're sweating through your clothes, and you've been up in a hot attic of a barn putting the hay up in there. So on the way back to the field, or always on the way back to the field, because on the way to the barn, you got to ride in the cab because there's no room in the back of the truck because it's full of hay, and so is the trailer and everything else. So anyway, the point is, on the way back to cool off, we'd stand up in the back of the pickup truck and be going 60, 70 miles an hour down the highway. Just standing up riding like that. We were just kids. Nobody thought anything of that back then. I get horrified when I think of my grandkids doing something like that right now. It just seems crazy. But nobody thought anything of it back then. You just did it. Nuts. Just crazy, isn't it? Let's see. Well, I guess that's it. Guys, I just thank you for being here and for taking a look at all the fun things I did over the weekend. I just wish a couple of them would just kind of go away, get fixed and let me just move on to something else. Y'all take care. We will see you tomorrow with something else.